since 2000, over 400,000 people have died from opioids, right? Overdose. Now, this is having a huge impact on several things in the United States. You know, hospitals, homelessness, there's a lot of different thoughts being taken on how to handle the situation, right? And I know, Vince, you're really close to the situation, and you've been doing a lot in the community. Why don't you go ahead and hit us up, let us know what's going on out there. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how it's impacting our community.
Yes, and just in Bexar County, we had over 246 overdoses, and it's 33% high, it hiked up. We have the highest overdose rate in Texas. San Antonio is leading it. And 30% higher in Bexar County than the state average. That's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And in the community that I serve in on the west side of the Lincoln Courts, the reason I got involved, so 2021, when I got involved was because I would come outside and I would be picking up dirty needles. Some are full of heroin, at least 10 needles a day, just in that vicinity on the street. And what happened was a neighbor across the street was like, "Hey, Pastor V, Jenny picked this needle up, and it was a needle full of heroin." His granddaughter was like 4 years old at the time. And she picked it up and was playing with it. Thank God the cap was still on it. And I said, okay, something got to be done. I got with other pastors in the community. There was only one other pastor that was dealing with harm reduction. Pastor Joe Barber was dealing with harm reduction. So I got involved that way. I wanted to be able to combat it as well. So I did my research and I knew about Narcan. So I decided to be a distributor of Narcan. And in the last year, where we at? We're in August. We're going to be in August. We're in July. Just this year alone, I watched over 11 people OD. Right there, either on the corner by the church or in front of the church.
Wow.
But we had Narcan that reversed that to bring them back.
That's awesome.
But in the process, we had just in that community in the last year, we've lost 7 people to that OD and to the fentanyl, the opiate crisis. And it's something that's very important. The councilwoman approached me about it as well. And they want to start funding nonprofits. But they want to get more faith-based churches and religions involved. And that's where a lot of faith-based draws the line because it's dealing with heroin, and I'm like, but it's reversing. We're saving lives. Mm-hmm. Like, if you don't want to do that part of harm reduction, at least get involved some type of way.
Yeah, so can you define like harm reduction? Like, is it like providing Narcan and alternate
Yeah, it's providing Narcan, but it's also providing a needle exchange. So this is where it gets a little tricky when you're faith-based because you'll have something set up to where if there's a heroin addict in your community, instead of him dropping or her dropping that dirty needle and could transmit disease, well, they should be able to go to Harper's Chapel Ministries and be like, hey, here's a needle, I'm going to discard it. We take it and do what we do with it. But in exchange, you get a new needle. So in the exchange of a new needle, they go and get high.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I don't care if you're smoking crack. I don't care what you're doing. There's only so much you're going to be able to stop a person from when they're in their addiction anyway. So my thing was, okay, I'm in a limbo because I don't want to just, adding to your addiction.
Yeah.
But then, but then I think about the children and the ones that are picking these needles up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay.
Or the disease that's being
transmitted. Or the diseases that are being transmitted. It's mind blowing. We do STD and AIDS tests at the church. And, I won't say the names out of confidentiality, but it's mind blowing and it's heartbreaking to see people that look like us, young, that are contracted with HIV.
Wow.
Behind opiate using the needle.
Wow.
And so I had to come to terms with the God that I serve, right? The Most High that I serve is a holy God. He's never going to change. But what would Jesus do?
Yep.
So I look at it in that standpoint. Mm-hmm. And I think he would do what I'm doing. And go against the elite of this situation. I mean, it's not going anywhere. But what are we gonna do as a community?
Right.
These children, Northside, Northeast Independent School District are gonna start having Narcan.
That's good.
So I think the age bracket with London they were saying is between. Oh my gosh, I gotta look at it, but I don't know if you pulled the stats on that. But
I did, on that one I didn't. This is probably my least amount of information that I knew about. I was like, wow, this is what I told you. I was reading it last night. I was like, did you know where it started in the 1990s and 2000s? And it's due to prescription drugs.
Yes.
And that's your oxycodone, that's your oxycontin,
I was
that's
gonna
your
get into that,
hydrocodone,
man.
that's your morphine, and now they use heroin because that is a cheaper form.
It's a cheaper form.
And you get the same effects.
They
And I was
bought
like,
heroin back.
I didn't
That's
know
a
this.
1970s drug.
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
But they're using that because they can't get your codeine. They can't get the morphine. They can't get the hydrocodones. So they're using heroin. And it is impacting our youth. And I didn't get the age range, but that is correct.
but our
That
youth it's amazing. As Ace was saying, when we grew up at that age, heroin was to me, an old man's drug.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Or more geared to the Hispanic population.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We were doing crack and all the other
Blood
stuff.
in, blood out.
Yes. So it shocked me with the youth in
That they're bringing
schools
that back.
that are doing the heroin.
Wow.
And it's a high rate of it. My daughter, Northside. We think because we out here living in the mean streets of Helotes that we're not prone to that, but that's where it's at.
It's here.
Yeah.
Hey, I do want to touch on one thing that you said though earlier about like the decision that you made to go ahead and move forward and start doing the program that you're doing right now. And it first and foremost, people are short-sighted. They're looking at just hey, well, you're giving them needle to do drugs. Okay. Let's go ahead and say yes, I am. I admit that that's what I'm doing, but let's look at the other side of the ledger. I'm reducing like the chance of people getting diseases, right? I'm reducing the chance of someone else finding that needle who's not on drugs to start using and end up, having a transition into another drug on their own, right? It's kind of like when people say things like, well, you shouldn't give people condoms. Well, they're going to have sex anyway. I'm trying to help prevent something. Like I'm trying to prevent them having a child. I'm trying to prevent them from having a difficulty early in their life because they have to raise another person and go to school and do this and that. Like it's not just about, hey, I'm helping somebody do drugs. That's not my intent. My intent is to mitigate like all the other damage that comes with doing this drug. So I think, that's important that people understand that we're not condoning drug use.
Right. And the statistics show that it decreases, right, instead of increases. And we also offer condoms at the church.
Yeah.
And that's why they say I'm unorthodox. But, we trying to combat these transmitted diseases and things that we're doing. And it's about education.
Real life solutions.
Real life solutions. And I just started to educate myself on things I knew I wasn't getting involved with. And I think a lot of times people don't want to educate themselves. They see what it looks like. Like I said, I have Thrive Youth SA that's on the campus, on the church grounds every Wednesday, LGBTQ, right?
Yep.
But if you educate yourself on what they do, they give out rubbers, they're doing STD testings. That community is plagued with HIV. They want to stop. They want to stop it. So,
and why not be a part of that? That's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this. With your needle exchange, how many opportunities do you now have to counsel or talk to that person when they come back in to exchange a needle? That's why I see the benefit. If a guy's bringing in a needle, it might not even be a conversation. It may be the simple fact now he's in an area that's really trying to prevent him from doing that and maybe enlightens him to maybe stop what he's doing.
Yep.
It's amazing. It's amazing because now the mentor and the counseling comes in.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of times when they come in, they're broken.
Yeah.
And we have some that come in high on Sunday fellowship, worship, and we're able to talk to them.
Yes, sir.
And you're right. We're able to pour into them. And I'm there every day. And so when they come, it becomes relationable. So it took about 2.5 years to build that type of relationship with them. And I'm on first name basis with them. And they'll come, man, Pastor V, I need to go to the methadone clinic. Can you take me? You're going.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what we want.
Yeah.
We want to get them off. But as me and Malik was talking earlier, it's a sacrifice.
And
a
it
lot
ain't a
of
quick
us,
fix.
It's not a quick fix.
Yeah.
It took us 20 years to get one that's addicted off the streets into a home last week. 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Did it.
yeah.
Yeah, but you did it. Exactly.
Did
Did
it.
it.
Yeah, I had
the
an
process.
uncle that went through addiction. I seen the addiction up front in the crack era with my uncle. So, and it wasn't easy. Now he changed his life around and went to Narcotics Anonymous, but it was a battle. And like you said, it was like a 20-year battle with that guy. So the think that, hey man, I ain't gonna give him a needle and they gonna, it don't work like that. Addiction don't work like that, man. It's
Yeah,
really
they
a
sure
battle
don't.
and it's a real struggle. But it's funny how, and me, I always got to try to make something political. But we had the same problem in the crack era. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to opioids, fentanyl, that don't directly affect the black community, it's just a whole different outlook to the point to do that. I got something I want to ask you, Vince, if we can relate that, because just talking in general, I actually talked to my mom yesterday. We were talking about fentanyl and we were talking about opioids and where they come from. And you know how the right like to say, well, like some politicians like to say, I ain't gonna say the right, hey, immigrants are the cause of that. But I said, no, in this case, it's Big Farm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They make this.
They made here.
They made here, and fentanyl is actually in the hospital. It's actually a drug
Exactly.
that's used when you're going to
Exactly.
surgery and certain things. Just it's that small, minute of dose that they're
Yes,
supposed
sir.
to give you.
Yeah, and it's and so because of that, because like, why can't you stop it if it's an epidemic? Could come up with something. Well, it's Big Farm, and Big Farm, we already know they're gonna lobby in Washington. It ain't gonna happen, even though there's plenty of people dying, just like Big Tobacco or whatever the case may be. So, just kind of wanted to touch and add that to the point where your struggle comes when you're having these battles and when it's coming to trying to get things done. To what's the source of that? And why is it such a struggle
You
to
had
try to
something
get people
to add to
taken care of?
that?
Oh, no,
Queen?
I'm just saying, no, just like you said, it came from the overprescription of late 1990s and 2000s. And that is from your hospitals. That's from doctors prescribing those medications. And just to
So
touch
did people
on
get hooked because it was over?
Oh yeah.
That's where the addiction and the dependency came from. And so here we are. But it does say the number one is public awareness. So what pastors doing is going to be the fight. That's what they need to do is the public awareness. So that's the number one. And that was found in the National Institute on Drug Abuse in NIDA. That is the source. And it says that's what you have to do to combat it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's
making people
crazy.
aware.
The drug game is crazy. They're not getting the perks and the cortisone, the hydros and all that no more. So they're going cheap. And those imitation pills that are not the real deal is the one that has fentanyl in it. They've got them looking like Skittles and sweet tarts and everything
Yeah, they
now.
really-
And the kids are popping them. But it's a cheap drug. It's dealing with that community, cocaine is like something of the past. Like you hear about somebody selling cocaine, you're like, you still selling cocaine?
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
everybody's
yeah.
on the meth and the ice and the heroin. That's man-made drug. I mean, you can sit here in the backyard and cook it up.
And you know what, man? You said something that just piqued my interest a lot, because I know it seems to me like industry, like you said, Big Farm.
Yeah.
We talked about vape a few weeks back.
Yeah.
We talked about vaping and how they make these things and they try to make it suitable for kids. Like the vape
Attacking the
pens
youth.
look like skateboards or little toys and stuff like that. Now they got drugs. They're making them look like little Skittles and
Look
candies.
like candy,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah.
When I searched,
That's
supposed to
just
wear gloves.
irresponsible, man. Just totally irresponsible. How once again, I think we're at a place where it's becoming acceptable to be unacceptable. Like same thing we talked about Florida a minute ago.
Yeah.
Like, all right, it's okay to be racist. It's okay to do this and that. It's okay to go ahead and try to target children.
Yes.
It's out of control, man.
Man, I don't know if you ever had the chance, but Hulu has a series called Dope Sick. And I don't know if y'all seen that yet.
Nah.
But Dope Sick talks directly about what we're talking about right now. And Michael Keaton stars in it. And he's like a small town doctor that when it kind of shows how Big Pharma and the relationship and how he's a small town doctor. And he started, giving out opioids because the way it was sold to him was how it was supposed to help pain and relieve pain. He eventually gets addicted to it himself and loses, and goes through a whole, goes through the whole addiction thing. But it's a great series. And it was educational to me just to think how, how the Big Farm pushed this. onto these doctors, and these doctors gave it to patients, not knowing what the how the outcome was going to be, and it shows how they just transformed the community overnight by him selling these opioids, prescribing these opioids, and it just changed the tone on everything, overnight like that. So definitely, if you're not a reader like me, or you read a book every 5 years, it's a good document or a good show to look at to give you some education. No, trust me, I read a little bit more than that, but you definitely want to get an education on it. That's an easy way to kind of look in on how this affects everybody and how it got started and how Big Pharma is, they're really the culprit when it comes to this.
Oh, yeah. I tell everybody, they talk about the cartels. I'm like, the pharmaceuticals a cartel.
Yeah.
That's who the real cartel is. But, if you look brown or black, we're the ones that are getting targeted, but we ain't the ones really. Where is it really coming from?
Yeah.
And I tell the brothers all the time in the community, I'll walk over there 2 streets down where the trap house and the dope cuts at, and I'll be like, hey, man, you got a secret indictment coming, man. Do something else, bro. I'm like, they going to put you under the penitentiary behind this fentanyl. Yeah. Like, they ain't playing because children are dying.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all got to do something else. And I had one brother tell me, yeah, man, I heard you're going to build a transitional home over here on the street. I said, yeah. I said, for kids fostering out. He said, you messing with my bottom line. I said, brother, if your bottom line is these $5 crackheads, I definitely got to help you get some work. Because if that's your bottom line, if that's how you hustling.
Got enough nerve to act like he went to business school. He using business terms.
Talking about messing with his bottom line. I'm like, I ain't see you in that car. You still on the via bus.
What's your ROI? What's your return on investment on that crack you selling, bro?
For real.
Talk to me about your SWOT analysis that you got going up in this. And you so business educated up in it. Your bottom. What the hell are you talking about? Your bottom line. You know what I'm saying? What's your overhead, bro? You know what I'm saying? They just start hitting them upside the business. Let me see your P&L, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let me see how you breaking everything down, man. And see what your gross profit looks like, man.
Your PTI.
Yeah. Let's get into this business thing since we want to start talking business.
Man. But that's a trip, man. I mean, like, how
damn drug dealer.
Just very irresponsible, man. From like, it's all about self, though. I mean, United States is built on survival of the fittest and all of that stuff. But what I don't understand, we know, like, we're gonna go back to the whole lobby, like paying the politicians, because the politicians will never say it's Big Pharma's fault. Because they're lining their pockets, right? But they will punish and try to incarcerate the people selling the stuff that's made by the pharmaceutical company.
Oh, yeah.
Now, go ahead and make as much as you want and put it out there into the environment. But if you sell it in the wrong way, you going to jail. Bro, don't make it. If you really care about it, you really care about the community, have these companies stop making this stuff.
Well, you got to because when you have extreme pain, like your morphine and codeine in the right dosage, I mean, it's beneficial to somebody. I've had to have morphine, not that I asked for it, but I have a high pain.
But there's no need to make it look like skills.
I definitely agree.
You know what I'm saying? There's just certain things that they could cut out. Like, I understand.
Because they have to have
something. You should always be able to put rules into place and have processes put in place where it's harder to get.
Right.
Like, you shouldn't be able, it should be secured in some kind of way that you can't just
get it.
When
you go to the dentist,
when it goes from the pharmaceutical company, but when it goes from the pharmaceutical company to the hospital, where is it branching off into the streets from there to there, or is it after the hospital? Whatever that entry point is, that needs to be discovered, and they need to put some guardrails around it so it doesn't continue to happen. That's all.
Right. Definitely agree.
Pastor V, man, since you're on this panel today, you're a man of God. We have something we do on this show. We have certain companies and organizations that we believe are ran by the devil. Okay. First up is the NRA. That's Satan.
We all know who number 2 is.
Well, we're getting there.
Let me drink my hot tea for this one.
So I just need your man of God opinion on are these companies really ran by Satan? These organizations. So NRA. I think we can add Big Pharma to that list now. You know what I'm saying?
I think so.
They're there too. But we definitely know Walmart is ran by the damn devil. You can get anything at Walmart. And it used to be 24 hours. They cut us off on that, and we fiend them. We want it back. We want, hey man, y'all need to be open 24 hours again. If your kid got a project, you need a poster board at 3:00 in the morning. Walmart used to be able to provide that
And
for
look,
you.
why is it Amazon on that list?
They getting there.
They get Amazon getting there.
They getting there.
Their prices are going up on everything. Deliveries, everything going up.
Even their membership prices.
Yeah.
They getting there, but they getting there. They getting there, but now I got to give them a shout out to the people. These are people because I left my debit card in Walmart right up here on Military Drive, and I thought I was over. Usually, the things in my head what was happening with my debit card for 20 minutes. I was like, man, and I ain't got that much money, but I was still scared. But those are the people. I think we add Big Pharma to Satan's list of businesses that he's running. Definitely because people are dying and they're not caring, and it's not like this just happened overnight. This is still happening.
Yeah,
and I don't know what they do with fentanyl. I don't know how they but there has to be a way to control that and get that under wraps.
So I just feel like, to me, I think this kind of, you tell me if I'm right or wrong, Vince, but I feel like the whole problem is being ignored. I think that it's being ignored because there's money involved with Big Pharma, like you said. It's surprising at one point that it's being ignored because it's impacting a wide range of people. Like if it was only in the hood, like crack used to be, I could see him ignoring it. But it's still being ignored, and there's white people, black people, Hispanic people, everybody's being impacted by this. But there's so much money in it that they don't care where their drugs go. They don't care if they stand in a hospital or going outside of there. They're getting paid. So I think it's being ignored.
It still hits their bottom line, according to
it is being ignored. And I think for me, I've been trying to get more people of color involved because even where we're at in that community, demographics has changed. It's more predominantly Hispanic than it is African American. But my whole thing is everybody that I deal with in harm reduction, most of them are white. Because they've been experienced, somebody's had a sister or somebody that's OD'd from fentanyl or whatever. But I'm like, where are we at? Where are the brothers at involved? Yeah. Because if you go down Calabria, some parts of Calabria, you see our brothers walking around like zombies.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Talking to themselves. And it ain't just mental, it's that dope. Yeah. You know, so we need to get involved as well.
I think it, man, and we were chopping it up earlier about like how families and black families kind of just let each other go easily because, and I think it's inherent in us. And it comes from back in slavery where we were ripped apart from our families. And we that emotional connection that we had, we knew we had to let go. We didn't want to, but we had to. When you watch the shows on Roots and all that, and you see people getting these kids being stripped from them, that's traumatic. You got to find a way to like, man, I gotta get past this. I gotta move past it. And I think some of that is lingering on in us today where we don't have those family connections that we should have or connections to our brothers and sisters out there because we're the same color because of what happened to us before. We're afraid to keep that connection because of us getting pulled apart in the past. I don't know.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to have mental health issues as a people. What you're talking
that too.
about.
Yep.
And when you start talking about, we joke around and say, hey, everybody got a crackhead in their family, and if you don't say nothing, it's you. We make jokes like that, but the thing is, though, truthfully, that's true. But how do we deal with that person? Most people shun them off, or ignore them.
They do. I don't want them stealing my TV.
And they don't.
What about a TV?
Yeah. Then they don't address probably what the mental health issue behind that is, or the depression. We were never, as a people, allowed to really do that until recently. You know what I'm saying? Like, what we're saying right now, especially when it comes to black people, we act like we ain't seen this before.
Oh yeah,
saying nothing but the crack epidemic. Like, now we don't have brothers sitting on the corner like back in the day.
Right.
Just selling crack. At the corner or whatever the case may be. They have trap houses or whatever right now. I mean, I don't know what no crack houses or trap houses are or anything like that. We don't see it up front in the community like we did, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And we still see, especially where I live, I still see people that are walking around and having issues. A lot of them are older. A lot of them are people that probably rolled over from the crack epidemic, but now they got this new toy to play with. So yeah, as a people, we have to address that and stop acting like we ain't seen it before.
Well, addiction takes time.
That-
And that's
yeah,
what
it
I
does.
think it is. I think it's the time that people have to put into it. Like, it's not going to be a week or two that somebody just, oh, I don't want no opioids anymore. And I
Yep.
think people don't want to invest. Just like you said, that young man for 20 years, you know,
Yeah.
he's finally off. But that's 20 years that you invested in someone. And I think people just don't want to put the time
Commitment.
in and commit, right, to helping somebody get off these drugs. It's time.
They write them off.
Right.
Yeah.
It's easy
yeah.
to write them
And-
off
and
than
It's easy to write
put the
them off.
time in.